Well, howdy. Back up to the bus. Got myself a big old pile of steel, a couple 100 pounds. Turns out that couple 100 pounds was in fact enough to dent the top of the truck. So don't transport steel the way I did. All right. What are we using this couple 100 pounds of steel for, one might ask? Well, the thing I need right away is more of this 2-inch angle. And that's going to become the molding for the door, so we're working on the door a little bit more today. Then I have a bunch of 1-inch by 2-inch tube, 1/8-inch wall, and I'm going to use that eventually to build the mounts for our chairs. I bought some transit seats, or seats from a Ford Transit, the 3-seater Ford Transit chairs, and I'm going to need to mount them into the bus somehow. Hold on, car. I probably won't really get into that today, but I want to take some measurements and take a look at what we got going. But I figure if I'm going to buy steel, buy it all at once, I guess. No, I'm lying. I didn't buy it all at once. I've been buying steel like every couple of months. But buy a bunch of it at once. And apparently dent the crap out of my truck. Oh well. All right, moving on. Get a couple of 10-foot lengths of that 2-inch that we're going to cut down today. We're going to get up into the bus and we're going to look at that door again. Last time we finished up, we had this door frame that I temporarily pulled out so I can get something out of there. We had this thing fitted into the bus and it fit nice. We got it manufactured last week and got it fit. Today, I think I am going to try to get it squared into the bus. It may not be its final mounting, but what I think I will do is I will take some screws anyways and screw through the steel into the rib. This might be a good idea, it might not. We'll try. But I want to get it plumbed. Well, plumbed. The issue with measurements in a bus is that they're all sort of relative. If I were to take my less than trusty but still acceptable 4-foot level, I have a trusty one at home. But if I were to take my 4-foot level, slap it on the side of this door frame like this and get it perfectly level, that'd be great. The problem is that the bus is not perfectly level and it's not gonna get there. So it'd be great here, but it wouldn't be good down the road. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna borrow the 12-inch square and I'm gonna do my damnedest to get it square to the floor. That's probably my best reference plane. I'm going to try to get it square to the floor, and then I'm going to try to make sure that it's all in plane, meaning that the corners all match up to each other in that same perpendicular to the floor plane, which will be tricky and probably annoying. But that's what we're doing today. After that, if I have any time, I'm going to see about getting a piece of steel mounted to the outside here. That's going to need a little cleanup, and then it'll need to be primed again. I'm going to be sort of a broken record on that. Clean up, prime, clean up, prime. And then, well, that'll probably be it for the day. I will probably also take some measurements of how high the wheel wells are, which I'm not going to bother showing you. You've seen wheel wells before. To find out how high they are, how high the chair rail is from the floor. If you remember the chair rail, there were seats bolted to a rail all along here back when it was a school bus. That chair rail is still there because, as I have found out from other people, and I found it out before I made this mistake, the chair rail is structural to the frame of the bus. You can't take it out, or you can, but it's a really bad idea. So, our chair rail is still there. I know that it is adequate to the job of holding chairs. because it was before. It is pre-drilled with a whole bunch of holes. So my plan is to use that chair rail and build a bracket off from that comes out to whatever distance we think is appropriate for the chairs to be seated at. And, you know, basically I am going to erect or set some steel together in a way that hopefully holds well, it has to. That will eventually hold the seat in the orientation that we want, at the height we want, and in the position that we want. But that ain't today. Today we are going to get started noodling with this door frame, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a grommet that's holding this frame off from the wall out, and then we're going to get started. Extra stuff. Good Lord. Well, that might be the top. Maybe. May have to go back and trim that. Let's start looking at the bottom. Almost forgot. First things first, get a prime. Alright, paint's supposed to dry. Let's see if we can nudge her back in place. There we go. Alright. And let's see if I can find my stuff. Alright. So, first screw is going to go in. Using a self-tapper here. Hopefully it'll get through. I don't know. I may have to pre-drill. Using a short self-tapper because this metal is touching. And my first thing that I'm fixing in place is right up here is this corner. I'm going to do this corner, and then get this rail true to the bus. Then I'm going to start working this side, and that will, and we'll work on getting those in a common plane. We'll get there. First thing, screw. It wants to be up here where it'll actually catch something with a little bit of meat. Get in there, you. Alright. So that's going to stay in place now. I should say, this will not be the final thing that holds this in place. In fact, this screw may come out. After this whole thing is in place, and probably after I do the molding, I'll come back and I'll put bolts through so that there's something besides 4 Tech screws holding this in place as we go rolling down the road. Well, come check this out. I just slammed this in place, and it's actually, just from first attempts here, it is very, very close. Can you see this? I can't see if you can see this. It is very, very close to being perfect. And the fact that it's very close to perfect is good because I can't move this. It's wedged in there. Or I can't move it out any further. You know what? I bet I could. Bet that with a sledgehammer I could nudge that out. The little tiny bit that it wants to go out. Oh boy. Oh boy. I can barely move it. It's off by less than 0.5 millimeter at a foot. I'm not doing it. I'm not smashing it with a hammer. I'm just going to screw it in place here. Yep, that's it. Seriously, Less than half a mil. Can't do it. Just gonna screw it in. Alright, so that's more or less touching. The other thing that I should check is it? It is not close. Shoot. That's too much. Looks like I am going to get out a hammer. Damn it. You might be asking yourself, you might be saying, Seth, are you using the type of door or the type of shim that you use on the door? And the answer is, right now, yes, I'm installing a door. But, can I get it to go in? Because most doors don't have this kind of a frame. Well, that isn't great. Son of a gun. Gonna need another one. I don't even know how much of that you could see. Come on, look up. So, I'll show you this. I wedged a couple of, look down please. I've wedged a couple of these things in here. A couple of shims in there to hold this thing that way. I could keep beating on that, but we're touching over here, down the bottom. So I don't think that there's any amount that I can bang on this thing that's going to move that way. So, this right here may have to be plumb enough, which I hate. It's like 1.5 mil out, or 1.5 millimeters out. A mill's totally different. Hang on, skip this. I don't want to do that. Okay, fine. All right. So I'm going to go with this, and I don't want to say that I'm a prideful fool who's going to go with this and may live to regret it, but that's only because I'm a prideful fool who's going to go with this and might live to regret it. So, just checking it for the umpteenth time. This is quite good. This is gonna have to be good enough. That is bad. Maybe I can't really even fix that top. Can I fix that top? I'll go back and look at the top in a minute. This is as far as it's going that way. So it is, as they say, what it is. I'm just going to sink this tech screw in down here. Hope that it never goes anywhere again. Well, that sucks. That should really stay attached. Try that one more time. Is this long enough to reach both pieces? Not long enough. We'll get another one. Dang, mirrors just got me again. All right. Wow. That is ungreat. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Like I said, these are eventually getting replaced with carriage bolts probably anyway, so it's fine for now. Let's see how this one looks. That is unsurprisingly slightly off. I want to go a little farther on the top there, so it can't go up any more there. It could go this way though. You can't even see what I'm doing. I'm smashing this door that way, so this is still off a little bit, though it's better on this side than the other. This could stand to have the bottom come that way a little bit. And all it really is back there is some foam, so there's room for that to happen once we make that room. Probably not really what I should be using this for. This is a better tool. I'm not trying to pry. Wow, that sounds weird. I'm not trying to use this as a pry bar. I'm using it to try to take away some of the foam that's down there. What I'm actually fighting with is great stuff. It's surprisingly tough. I'm doing this, I'm not even 100% sure this is going to be in plane. I'm assuming that this is square. Am I? No, I'm assuming that this is flat. And it is pretty flat. If it's not flat, then I'm screwing up. Today, it's just a screw hole. That's 3 of the 4 that I want to kind of get in place. The last one is the one that's going to be interesting. If it has to go into the bus, I can do that. If it wants to go out of the bus, I'm hosed. And that might just be where it is. If it wants to go out of the bus, it can't happen. For now, I got to find some string. Alright, it's going to be hard for you guys to say, I think. More this way. What I've done is taken my string from my plumb bob and attached these together. And well, what I've done is I've made an X that goes from the corners, always attached to the face of the... Come on, look down. Sometimes I just want you to look where I point you. Always attached to the face of the metal, same face, same reference plane. I've created an X. I don't even know what this means yet, but this is pushing slightly in. So I think I can actually go in at the top, and that should get the plane. You want these two X's to be just barely touching and not influencing each other in any real way. And then it's flat. And I can't really tell if they're influencing each other right now because I'm holding the camera. So I'm going to have to pause, and I'll let you know if I get it right. Okay, so what I got to was this. I had to squeeze this in a little bit so I could get this to the point where it was just about, it was still touching, but just barely. And if I touch this just a tiny bit up here, it separates out. And now I know that at least the four corners are theoretically in plane. So the four corners are theoretically in plane. The next question is, did I screw up my plumbness? I almost don't want to check, to be honest. It may just have to be what it's going to be, because I've set the four screws in. So looking, and please be right, it's a little off. Alright, so this side is a little off. And if I move the bottom, it's going to screw this whole thing up again. Alright, gotta do a little thinking. It may be okay. I may just deal with it, because honestly, we're probably within the thickness of the gasket. But you do always want to strive to do your best. Usually. Always, always. Alright, I'm going to be honest. I didn't fix it. Here's why. I'm not going to even show you the door frame as I do this. It looks the same. But I had just finished the top corner up there. And I moved it so it just barely fit. That changed this corner down here's angle to the floor. And now this corner down here theoretically wants to go out by, you know, by about 0.5 millimeter. If I move that 0.5 millimeter, that's going to change the way that this string worked, which means that I'd have to change the corner up there too, and that's going to take this side out of true. And I'd rather have this side be closer to true, because this is the side that's going to have the hinges, and the hinges win. So if I have to be out by 0.5 millimeter, it's that corner. And it'll be fine, because we're going to be compressing the gasket by way more than that anyways. So, yeah. Sometimes you pick your battles. My next battle is figuring out how to get the molding on the outside edge here, and over here, and at the top, so that it doesn't look like there's a giant hole cut in the side of the bus anymore. I mean, there is. There always was. And I'll plug it with the door eventually. But first things first. Make it look like I got it right. So, after a non-zero amount of time spent hemming and hawing, we have decided that if this is my reference plane for the hinge, or this is my reference piece for the hinge, and this is my reference plane, we are probably best served by removing this little bit of flange that is covering this. Oh no, you might say. You're weakening the bus. I'm also adding 2 huge pieces of 1/8 inch steel here. It'll be fine. So, I'm going to have to grind this off, which means Time lapse. All right, so hopefully you could see that in the time lapse. What I ended up doing today was cutting 3 pieces for the outside part of the back door jamb. We're calling the back door, the old emergency hatch, emergency door. I'm not going to get to welding them today. It took some thinking to get that to work right, but they fit up nice. Probably weld them in place next week unless we're doing more furring out. But we have a plan for that now. A few things I still have to decide as far as how I'm handling the very bottom, because there's some silliness that we have planned there. But yeah, I've got most of what I want to get done today done. I think next week, if we are doing door stuff, I'm going to work on welding up that frame. I'll probably have to weld it in place, which means disconnecting the batteries of the bus again. Not a big deal, it just has to get done. Also have to weld it in place. Have to start thinking about how I want to handle hinging for the door. And then I can start thinking about fabricating the door. I'm going to need to make some pieces for that. And we have to figure out how we want to handle the door height and such. So before I leave today, I need to remember to measure what the door height is probably going to be. That would be a good thing to know. And then I need to also measure how high up and how wide and what the offset is for the front wheel wells, so that I can really start to plan out the brackets, or I don't even know what you'd call it. It's kind of large to call it a bracket, but the mounting points for the chairs. I'd like to have those in possibly before we spray foam, although I think I'll still be able to get to the chair rail if I need to. That's it for now. That's it for this week. Like, subscribe, comment. If anyone has any good ideas about building big, giant, beefy doors, let me know. Otherwise, until next week, have a great week. Bye.